Namaste. Welcome to a new series by Thought Habitat Speaks. Music is something which we all love. There is no single soul which would say that I hate music. We all like music in different ways. And in the current times, fusion music has been the talking point. While some people in our country, well, some musicians in our country tend to sing Western, some think in a different way. They tend to bring Indian and Western flavors in the same song, in the same album which they sing. So Twisted Bass is one such performer. So he is among the few artists who represents the Indian music scenes in the global stage. He has performed in international clubs such as Ink and Coherent in New Zealand, and also he's been performing at Electro Hub at Cambridge and Basement in Melbourne and Gameworks at Kuwait and whatnot. And yes, Indian cities are also not an exception. He has performed in n number of Indian cities.
Hey, thank you so much, Arvind, for a very, very good intro. Thanks a lot.
That's my pleasure. And I have a few questions for you.
Sure, man.
Yeah. So there are very few DJs who focus on promoting Indian music and
Hmm.
promoting the fusion music, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what is your motivation behind that?
Um, my motivation actually comes from my roots. See, all of us being Indians, we've been brought up with such rich culture when it comes to music. We've been treated with some amazing music throughout our lifespan. I am a person who's kind of like lived the golden era of music through my parents. That's moved on to me when I got the knowledge and the ear to understand what music is all about. So I've been treated with musicians like Adi Barman, all of those, gems of India, Kishore Kumar, all of them. So what happens is that when you travel a lot outside, you know you also tend to pick up different cultures, and I've always been interested in learning different sounds and learning different cultures of people around the world, because the world is such a vast place. You can cover the entire world within a year, but it will take you n number of lifetimes to just discover what the essence of each culture is. And like I said, our culture is so rich when it comes to music, when it comes to musical instruments, that when you go around and when you listen to that, and when you listen to what you're treated to from that culture, the mind always goes back to, okay, you have this, but do you know that we have this too? And I think the best way to share that is through music. And that's what my goal is, to treat ears with new sounds that people have not heard, or maybe people have not discovered yet, by giving them what they are already connected to. Like all of us, every Indian on the planet, no matter where they are, no matter where they are born. It's not just that you're born here, so you're treated with the Indian culture, but no matter where you're born in, the culture will always be in you. It could be through your discovery, it could be to your parents. My goal here is to blend in sounds and to enhance that culture wherever I can, wherever I travel. And that's what I love doing. So that's the whole goal
That's
behind.
really wonderful to know. That's wonderful to know from you. And my second question, you performed
All right.
in major cities across the globe, be it
Yes.
Kuwait, Melbourne, Cambridge, everywhere,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when you're performing an Indian music, an Indian fusion song, right?
Yes.
So how do those people pursue it? I mean, what is their reaction when they see that?
Let me let me start that off by saying this. Indian culture is not just respected around the globe. It's even loved all around the globe, like wherever I've traveled. And I'm talking about whether I'm traveling in the UK, whether I'm traveling in the US, whether I'm traveling in Southeast Asia, whether I'm traveling in Africa, or I'm performing all around India as well. The sounds what we kind of produce on a global scale is loved and cherished by a lot of people. And plus, at this point of time, I guess no matter where you go in the world, you'll find an Indian community there. It could be the most remote place on the map, which you could just blindly put your finger onto. An Indian community is definitely there. So what happens? It becomes very easy for me to kind of like go and connect to people and share this sound because for them it's about being homesick. For them it's about bringing back memories of each song or each sound or even when I sample. So what I do is when I do my DJ sets all around the world, I always tend to pick up some of their local songs, mash them up, or do like a remix of it with new age sounds. Like let's say if I'm doing a house set, I would probably pick up a very old Hindi song, take a little sample of it, mix it into a house song, and then play it so that it fits in my set as well. But also, it's a big surprise when people listen to something like this coming up because they are not expecting that. You know what I mean to say? Like I recently did a mashup of uh, a age-old song of ours, which is a classic. It's called Choli Ke Piche. I'm sure everybody's heard it. Now there is this new genre of music which is called booty beats, which is originating from Netherlands. I did a mashup of that track with one of their local songs, and this happened when I was performing in Bali. Now imagine the distance of all three countries. And when I performed in Bali, people went mad expecting a blend of sounds originating from the Netherlands, coming to India, enhancing it, and then being performed in Bali. So it's always a great feeling when you do this, and especially when you get responses like this, because, like I said, if you can give people what they're not expecting, but if you can give them in a really good way, that feeling is different. I still get goosebumps on some of my mashups and remixes, what I what I kind of make in the studio, and if I get that exact response on the dance floor, just the best feeling ever.
So there are few takers for Indian fusion music, even in our own country. And while it
Yes.
is surprising to me that beyond in the global level, people are loving our culture and they are accepting it.
Yeah.
But while
Exactly.
performing in India, like going to a pub, imagine you're performing Choli Ke Piche and all these songs. And obviously not many people are going to accept it because they want
Yeah.
something hip hop, they want something jazz to dance
I know
upon.
exactly what you're saying. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're
So
saying.
how do you manage to bring that fusion between the two?
See, it's a very tricky situation these. Um, India as a whole, like I said, it's a pool of amazing cultures put together. And what happens as a performer is that once you start traveling different cities and when you start understanding what exactly they like and what exactly they want, it kind of makes it very easier for you as a performer to kind of like blend different sounds in because the music uh, um, style of what people like in different cities are completely different, because what can work in Bombay may not work in a place like Chennai, but will work wonders if you're performing that same thing in a place like Hyderabad. So what works for me is, firstly, everybody loves a person from Bombay. I don't know why. It's just a very global thing. As soon as you tell them I'm from Mumbai, they just give you a big fat hug. So it's acceptance right there and there itself, the first thing. Secondly, what, like I said, what I also try to do is, I study a lot. So even, I mean, I've been performing now for about 18 years. I started performing from my first year of college. I've been very fortunate with music that I've traveled all around our country. Every place I go, I always do my studies pele. Like, there's always a back study of calling people, calling your friends from that particular city, calling other DJs as well. Like, to kind of understand what exactly they want and what do they like and what do they listen to. Like, for an example, if you are traveling to Chandigarh, they love their Punjabi, they love their folk, they love it. And what happens is, once you're in a nightclub scenario and once you're intoxicated to a point, you need to listen to what you want. Like, what you listen to in your car or back at home, or even when you're showering. You would love to listen to that. But if someone can give you what they want, like for an example, if I'm playing a sampled Hindi song with a Punjabi track, which they want to listen to, so what happens is, they first of all, they're not expecting a guy coming from Bombay and playing your folk Punjabi, which is basically played in, like, the households, which they love. You get a surprise point right there. It's a brownie point right there. Secondly, is when you give them something which they are not expecting, which is not even for them. Maybe it's not even played in Bombay, like a track like Choli Ke Piche, for example. I'm just taking an example because it's a track loved by everybody, but no one will expect it being played in a nightclub. You know. So if at all, if I can give like a blend, like a fusion of Choli Ke Piche with Punjabi drums behind it, starting with that a little Punjabi folk sample, moving on to that song, moving into what I want to play, little bit of hip hop beats to it, it just works wonders. So yeah, definitely the acceptance of Bollywood is kind of not as much as how much we would want to, because a lot of people still kind of have that iffy feeling, saying that, oh, Bollywood is good, but then I would love to listen to it in a shadi or a barat or in a house party, or in a, like, when you're just chilling, but not in a nightclub scenario. Because now what has happened is, people have traveled a lot. Like, they have gone across the world, and plus, in the past 10 years, the whole music festival culture has become so big in India, saying that everyone wants those sounds which are being played in Tomorrowland, which are being played at Ultra Music Festival, which are being played at all of these international festivals, Burning Man and stuff like that, happening around. So people are expecting that as well. So what happens is, even when I play festivals like Sunburn, because I played Sunburn, I played Time Out, I played Supersonic, I've played Ultra Music Festival as well for Bali and stuff like that. So you exactly tend to pick up and try, because see, at the end of the night, once you're a performer, you are the captain of the ship. It just has to be very, very, very carefully guided. The ship has to be very carefully guided so that it doesn't become another Titanic and it sinks. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly, I think, is what someone needs to do as a performer. For me, that's my goal, which I kind of, like, study a lot when it comes to what people listen to, and, like, what people understand or what people like to listen to. And give it give try like a best fusion version of what I want to give it to them and what they want to listen.
That's really interesting to know.
Oh, it's brilliant and it's so much fun. Like I said, the best part of all this study, all of this, it could be 20 hours of or 600 hours of doing your R&D, but that one moment where people like it and that smile on their face just makes your day.
Yeah. So, one last question for you.
Sure, sure.
So, you performed in the world stage more, and you
Yeah.
performed locally as well across India,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, is there any territory that you haven't explored where you
I
have to
haven't
go and sing?
explored. Oh wow, there are so many, man. So many, so many. Like what I would want to do or what I would love to do is go in these remote areas of our country. Like, explore them, perform for them. Because like I said, I want to explore so much of Indian culture because there's so much of it. For an example, even if you're just traveling through Rajasthan, as a state itself, you're just traveling to Rajasthan, every stop will give you a different culture, and every stop will give you a different set of music. It'll give you a different set of instruments. It'll give you a different culture and style of music. So there is so much. I mean, I feel that, like I said, the world can be covered within a given time, but it'll take you several lifetimes to explore it. And that's exactly when it comes to music. You can cover all of it within a given time, but to explore it will take you a number of times.
That's really interesting to know. And exploring music, traveling
Oh,
across, and exploring
yes,
beyond our limits. You know,
yes.
that's
It's a
something
completely
which
different
I
feeling,
dream
man.
of. That's something which
Oh,
I've been
all of
dreaming a
us.
lot about. But
I
little
get
did I
goosebumps when
perceive it.
I get goosebumps even when I talk about it. Like right now, I'm having goosebumps all over my body even when I talk about it. So
It's been a great discussion overall.
same
So
here,
we
man.
are looking